G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to my Round 7 BBL SuperCoach review. Hope you had a ripping week yourself. Now, just want to start off by giving a huge shout out to the Insight Fantasy Sports crew. Got together with Mick, aka SC Big Horse, and Nath, aka the SC Brain last night for their Round 8 BBL preview. Had a ripping time with these two blokes. It was funny, after the podcast, we said, look, even though it's the first time we've met and had a chat with each other, it was just like having a chat with old mates that you'd known for years. So shout out to those two legends. Thank you very much for having me on, guys. Had a ball, as I mentioned. And if you're looking for a good pod to bring in this week, that is certainly the place to go. So make sure that you check that out. Follow me on X. You can see my details there. You'll be able to find a link to that. So make sure that you check that out before the start of the round and before you look to make any of your trades this week. So I'm a little bit all over the shop. You probably notice I'm wearing a suit. So look, there are times, I suppose, as a content creator where you just don't want to put out content. You can't be bothered doing it. You don't feel like doing it. This is probably one of those days for me, but we make a commitment to put these weekly videos out. So I'll always make sure that I do when I can. But unfortunately, I'm coming back from a funeral today. Big Foley, sort of grew up with this man, like a big brother to me. Believe it or not, I'm a very upstanding member of the community now as a primary school teacher. But back in the day, I was a little bit of a larrikin, used to get into a little bit of mischief. Most of you can probably guess that or tell that, I suppose. But, this mate just seems to always bail you out. One of the older boys, a couple of years older than me. But just, living next door for years and years and, low 40s. It's just... it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Pretty raw. And when we talk about SuperCoach's game, look, I take the game bloody seriously. Love the game. Sometimes it can almost ruin a weekend, can't it? If things just don't go your way, your captain doesn't pop off, whatever. But it really does go to show that you need to put things into perspective in life in general. A bad SuperCoach week is nothing. I know that I take it serious, as I said, but from now on, that's something that I'm really going to remember when I do have a bad SuperCoach week. The sky isn't falling down. It's not the end of the day. And wasn't even going to get into this, but just for anyone watching, right? If you're going through a hard time with anything in life, that could be your family, your financials. Life can be tough for lots of people at the moment. Please yell out, speak with someone, speak to a mate, regardless of whether or not you know me, I know you, you watch my videos, I know you intricately, I don't know you from Burris. So if you're struggling out there and you're watching this video, my DMs are always open. Sometimes people just need a bit of an ear. I can be that ear for you if you need to. I know many other people in the community can do the same thing. But please, guys, if any of you are struggling, speak up, talk to a mate, because there's a lot of love out in this world. I know that there's a lot of negativity going on in the world at the moment, but there still is a lot of love. So please make sure that you speak up. Speak to a mate. Speak to a mate. If you need a mate, I'm always here for you guys, whoever you are. So, shout out, much love to Peggy, Tommy, Liam, Amon, Mairead, Siobhan family as well. Taken way too soon. But let's try to get positive here, because the big man would not want me to be upset. He'd want me to be positive going into this week and really celebrate a great life here. So let's get into the SuperCoach. Apologies for that. But 1043 this week. A few things didn't quite go as planned. I traded out Connolly. He turns up. I take Maxi's score over the Chodes 100+. Ouch. I had Colin Munro as my VC. Bit of a pod move over Tall Paul. Things were looking good after the first game. But when I was live on air with the two boys last night, it was actually during the game, news came through that he went out for 2. So that was slightly disappointing. So it's almost like a week that could have been. But in saying that, only went down, 40 spots, still sitting in the top 2%, just outside the top 1K. So goal for me is to try to just get within that top 1,000 within the next 2 weeks and finish off around that top 2% mark. I'd be really happy with that. So that is it for a bit of a different intro, guys. But let's see how the team's looking, and more importantly, what trades I'm looking to make this week. Alrighty, so we'll quickly run through the side and then we'll talk about our trades. So Quinton de Kock was my captain this week. Was keen to keep him as a loophole, and I will be keeping him for the remainder of the season. He will not be available for the rest of the BBL. So being that wicket keeper loop, I'll be able to swing him in between my wicket keeper and my batter's line. So he's going to be a handy player for me. Was able to take advantage of McDermott's 141, which is really nice. After the first game, I did have the decision, do I take McDermott's score or Billings? I think Billings was actually on a higher score than Macca at the time, but I thought, given the fact that, well, they both got the gloves, but McDermott's opening, I'm going to go with him, even though he's got lower score. And lucky I did. Billings is really good as well. Unfortunately, had him on the bench, though. Shorty with a 66 on a single. Inglis was good with that 119. Hardy, shocking. Again, if you had him as captain, if you thought, no, this is the week. This is a week. Didn't have a great week last week, but I'm going to stick with him. Keep the faith. You would have been super disappointed. And I think it was in that first game, you even opened up the bowling. That was looking scary as a non-captain myself, but at the end of the day, super disappointing from him. Munro, I end up bringing in over Mac Wright. Just had those visions of round one and thought, I think he can go big again. Was looking really good in game one. As we said, big failure in game two, and a big bonus with that run out last ball in the first game as well. Crawley, he was really good in the first game, not quite good in the second game. He's going now, so he will not be available. He's another one that will not be available for the rest of the BBL. You were able to use him as a loophole, or else you can trade him out this week. Hales, I didn't have the emergency on, but he got a 92. Keep in mind, though, it was a bit of a side strain I think he had. Not sure if he's going to be available this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed he will be for the double, though, but need to keep our ears open for news there. Billings, as I said, was really solid. Walter, Tall Paul, well, this is a bloke I said I'm going with as my VC, the clear VC choice this week. And then I got Colin Munro on my head. As I said, flashbacks of round one. Decided to flip a coin. Don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but the coin landed on Munro. So I went there. Should have gone with Tall Paul. Would have been inside the top 1K, but it is what it is. You know, all good. X Bartlett, massive with a 149. That first game, what was it? 4 wickets in 2 overs. Was absolutely huge, and then got a little bit of junk time that second game as well. So congrats. Know that, was it Rancy put the VC on Bartlett, I think it was. Congrats to you, brother. Ended up working out very well. And then we get on to these two, Andrew Ty and Jai Richardson. Ty, in his own words, I will not have a rest. He gets rested the second game, and Richo has just been a complete failure over the last couple of weeks. He's such a quality bowler. Remember the price that he started at this year. That's because of his great season the year before. We know what his potential's like. Still one of the best bowlers in the country, in my opinion, but just things haven't panned out for the great man. 48 over a double. Really disappointing again last week. I thought we were jumping on a bargain a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, we were getting dog poo in the end. But yeah, very unfortunate there. Burden's loop, and this killed me. End up taking Maxi 65. Thought I'll be safe. And the chode absolutely reamed me. Slap, who's your daddy type stuff with a 125. This could have been a lot worse. After that first game, man, you should have heard the chats going on. I was copping it left, right, and center, but I decided to go safe. Didn't pay off this week. And another thing I should have mentioned, the trades I ended up going through with, out Jamie Overton. This bloke, I bring him in for 3 weeks, averages 33 for me, I think. Before that, I brought him in a 90-something average. He tons up the week after. Super frustrating there. Connolly, I traded out for 109, was just excess needs on that double if you watched my video last week. And out went Darcy Short, in came Munro, Bartlett, and the Burden loop too. So that's how the team's actually looking. Now, in regards to loops, I'm set for the rest of the season. So you've got de Kock, as I mentioned. He won't feature in the BBL again. He can switch between 2 lines. You've also got Burden there that can switch between 2 lines. We know that the Heat players also have the last game off. And Zach Crawley's also not going to be available. So just if we look at, for example, de Kock, Crawley, and Burden, they're all loopholes, in my opinion, for the rest of the year. I'll need to work out what's happening with Crawley in regards to his last week's schedule, if I'm able to use him effectively or not. But at this stage, who am I looking to trade out? I cannot wait to do this. So these 2 blokes down the bottom here, AJ Ty and Richo, they're elite bowlers. We know what their history's like, but just haven't been doing it for me. I can't wait to see the back of these guys. Of course, what's going to happen this week, they're going to absolutely smash it, but they're very, very likely to go out for me. Burden, I'm keeping as a loop. Not getting rid of any of these two blokes. Bartlett could be a bloke that you just keep for a week and then look to flip, but he's in fine form at the moment. Would like to keep him if possible. And same as Tall Paul. He's a dangerous man not to have even on that single. So they're probably the two blokes that stand out in regards to my bowlers. Now, if you look at the batters here, well, quickly, I'm not getting rid of McDermott. He's in good form. And De Kock, I'm going to use as that loophole. Shorty's staying in the side. That's a non-negotiable. Inglis, I think, is probably in form wicketkeeper at the moment, so sticking with him. Hardy is a bloke that's been super disappointing, burnt lots of people. Burnt me as an owner, but not as a captainer. So maybe I don't have as negative feelings as other people may on him. Certainly a trade-out option for me. He's just not in good form, but another bloke that on his day can go absolutely massive. Remember when I traded him out after starting him, he went huge. So that's dangerous. Munro is probably the bloke that I am happy to move on. We know that the Heat do have that last buy, so you can't carry too many. And I don't want blokes like, for example, Bartlett and Walter being my loopholes that last round. I'd much rather upgrade these guys with the money that I've got, or the money that they'll be at anyway. So for me, it's going to be Jai Richardson out, along with AJ Ty. I don't have a boost to use. That'd be nice. And I think it's going to be Munro at this stage. So that gives me 471K to work with. Now, I did mention in the intro that I sat down with the two legends last night, Big Horse and Brain. And they went through a really, really nice list of pods. And to be honest, one of the bigger pods that I was looking to bring into my side, being a bit of a bad boy this year, is now not going to be available. And it was Tommy Curran. I'm not going to go through the numbers. If you want the numbers, you can go back and see it. But in saying that, probably irrelevant now. Super unfortunate, because I was looking to bring Tom Curran into the side. Now, another great point that these boys made was the fact that if we are looking to upgrade next week to these Thunder players, and I will talk about the Thunder in a little bit, it's probably a good idea to actually bank some money. So you may actually need to downgrade a player to bank some coin in able to get those Thunder players that you want. Quickly on the Thunder as well, obviously it's a single. I should have mentioned this in the intro. I said my mind's everywhere. It's a single this week for every side. A single for every side. Next round, which will be the last round of the season, the Sydney Thunder are the only team on a double. So we certainly want to be bringing in some Thunder players into our sides. How many is a good number? It was agreed last night that 5 is probably the ideal amount. Maybe 6 if you want to push it. Any more than that, probably not. If you're only running with a couple, probably too risky as well. So 5, we're thinking, is probably the ultimate amount. And that is up for debate. That's just something that we talked about last night, and you can make up your own mind about how many players you think is too much or not enough and all the rest. So certainly something that we need to keep in mind. I will be bringing a Thunder player in this week. I've only got Hales at the moment. I did have Sanger in the side, had Bancroft. I did load up with a few of these blokes, but trade them out again. We'll talk about the player that I'm looking to get this week in a minute. But I did mention that I'm looking for a pod and I'm looking for someone to downgrade to. Now, this is a guy that many of us started with this year. He's a world-class bowler. When we look back to the World Cup in fine form, in the best of form possible, you know exactly who it is. And it's Mr. Adam Zampa. What the heck am I doing? He's not in great form, is he? Let's be honest. But at 81,300, we're already saving 50K on that starting price. And another thing that we've got to look to is the deck, the conditions. I think it's going to be really favourable for the Renegades, and I really like their upcoming fixture as well. Again, I'm not going to go through all this because I want you to go back and see the great work that we did. Well, when I say we, the two boys did last night, and I chimed in here and there when I could. But they did go through Adam Zampa's draw and talk a lot about him. Did a bit of a deep dive. So I'm not going to do that now, but I'm really interested in Adam Zampa, particularly at that price. I've now got 389 to play with as well. Another bloke that, I hate doing this. I really hate doing this because he's a man that has absolutely burnt me. I was looking to bring Tom Curran into this position. You've got a number of other pod picks that you could look to bring in as well. Someone like a Sean Abbott. If you looked at the top 5, 10%, no one really owns him. He's someone you could really look to bring in. Benny Dwarshuis, even the boys mentioned. So a couple of Sixers players that you could have a bit of a sniff at. I think I'm probably playing it a little bit too safe here and bringing back Jamie Overton. The bloke has killed me, but surely he's got to give me one good week. He's had a phenomenal season, and what you saw last week, is what this man's actually capable of. We know he hasn't got another double. It's only the Thunder that will have the upcoming double. So at this stage, I'm just looking at who are the ultimate players that you want to have in your sides. And Jamie Overton's probably the bloke that I'm missing. I think there's probably the big four, I would almost say, and that is Matt Short, Maxi, and then probably Overton and even a Daniel Sams. Sam's is a bit of a different discussion because at his current break even, I don't like the value this week. Upcoming opponent, have a look at his history against them as well, and I think it may slightly put you off. So I'm looking to bring him in next week. I think he's going to be a must-have on his double, but I'm looking to do that next week. So let's talk about the Thunder player that I'm going to get in. I'm just going to quickly, where are we? Sydney Thunder. So we'll scroll through them here. Now, I am going to look to bring a bowler in. We'll quickly look at the batters, though. So Sam's, I think, is going to be a must-have, but I don't think he's a must-have this week. He could come out and smash it now that I say that. Bancroft, just not in great form at the moment. You know that Jilks has been running with the gloves. Talk about bad form. He's been an absolute shocker this year. Poor old Swizz. He got screwed with Jilks. I feel for the man because he is such a great fella and so knowledgeable at this game as well. Different story, though. Hales have already got. Ollie Davies is someone that you could have a sniff at 100K. Ross, again, just under that. Been good, been ordinary. 91K, probably the bloke that you would be interested in out of these 1, 2, 3 fellas here is Colin Cadmore. I did talk a little bit about him last night, 47 in the last game, definitely a pod selection. So if you're looking to go a little bit different, he's someone that you could definitely have a look at. Sanger, another possibility. Not really too sure. Only the 2 games played. Jukes just wouldn't go near. Warner is the other really interesting one. Now, do you want to bring this bloke in coming straight off the helicopter? We talk about how important preparation is. This bloke's going to have zero preparation. Does he need preparation? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I'm just saving this for next week. We're going to have a look this week, see how he goes. Look, if he smashes it, power to him, power to anyone that brings him in. But I'm pretty keen just to wait this week out and then look to bring him in next week. So there's already 2 blokes that I've locked in. Weeks a long time in SuperCoach, but looking to lock in Daniel Sams as well as Dave Warner next week. So won't be looking to bring them in at the moment. I will be, however, looking to bring in a bowler. So let's just get Tall Paul down there for a sec. We've got 2 options here. We've got Green, Sanger. You could go your McAndrew. Hatcher, I'm not too sure about. Probably not. Maybe a Sandu if you want to go really different there. That's all that we've got. But the bloke that I think I'm going to bring in this week is actually Chris Green. So we know it's been a bit of a spinner's dream lately, hasn't it? Well, depending on where they've been playing, that's certainly an exaggeration there, but really like his upcoming schedule. And the fact that he's got that double in the last round, at the moment, he's only the 2nd player that I'll have total for the Thunder, which means even if I go all out and max out with 3 next week, that'll be 5. In saying that, that's the ideal number. And that's certainly what I'll be looking to do. It's a bit of a risk if Hales doesn't get up because then I'll be down to 4. We'll see what happens there. I'll really be looking out for news in the next couple of hours, but I don't think we'll get much. It's a little bit risky, potentially only bringing in the 1 Thunder, but I'm really keen on Zampa. I need to make a bit of coin. I really like Jamie Overton. It's not a pod pick, but I'm just going with the crowd that I think could really hurt me. And then this man, Chris Green, is going to be the single Thunder player that I look to bring in this week. So going to complete those trades, confirm that. So what do I have in the bank? So only 30K in the bank. That's not a heap, but with Daniel Sams, in my opinion, going plummeting in price this week, I'll be able to use your Walter, your Bartlett types that have the buy next week to be able to upgrade to him. Davey Warner at his price will not be a problem when you're talking about those 2 blokes here. So not concerned about that next week. Now, we look this week at the fixture. So De Kock here, well, that's a perfect loophole, isn't it? So you've got McDermott. I can just chuck on the bench for that first game. If he goes well, awesome. Just leave De Kock there. If not, then you've got, well, any one of Billings or Inglis to bring in. So let's just say that we do that. Easy done. So we've got Hales and Billings. Well, Hales, I'm not sure if he's going to get up, but let's just hope that he does. And that's an easy loop there because you've got your Burden that I can look to swing on if need be. He's currently... No, do you know what I will do? I'm actually going to utilize. Yeah, I'll do that. So this way, I'll be able to potentially see how Hales goes if he actually plays. And this way here, and it killed me last week for doing this, but I might even loop the old Chud. Oh, sorry. Well, Crawley's not going to be playing either. All right, so I need to take that into account. So I wish I had another DPP here. Do I look to bring in potentially another Thunder player with some DPP? I'll have a look. This video has gone way too long, right? So at this stage, what I'm going to look to do, I think it's just easy to loop the Chode, and after reaming me last week, I won't get into those immature jokes. Damon will love it though, and Scobie. Yeah, I'll loop, yeah, McDermott and the Chode just because I've got the first game there. Hale's got the second game. In regards to captains, I think it's so easy putting Shorty on this week. You could go Overton if you're looking to go a pod there, but we know what's happened if you passed up Shorty. No, that's locked. And then I think for me, so we better do, what are we doing here? Just for now. All right. So we're going to get Maxi on, and he will certainly be my backup captaincy option there. So what do we take? Well, the boys said last week, or last night, sorry, maybe 85 to 90 off short. Depends how greedy you want to go. But I'm giving him a cutoff point of, I'm going to be really specific here. I'm going 83 for Matt Short. So 83 and over, I'm going to take that VC score. If not, I'm going to roll the dice with Maxi. I may even look to do what the rest of the competition's doing in the top sort of 5% there. Maybe look to make a pod move if I feel like I need to. But Maxi having that last game, that's handy with De Kock as well. So I've got a long time to make that decision, see what my opponents are doing and all the rest, and probably go from there. But one thing that I would really recommend is use your loops this week. With everyone being on a single, there's no obvious picks to field over others. We know what this game's like, a duck one week or a two in Munro's case, an 85 another week. So definitely do that. I don't think it's a bad idea looking to bring someone like a Burden in. He's got the third game this week, by the last week as well. So I would recommend to look to do that. If you need to downgrade, if you don't want to go as Zampa type, go all the way down to a loop if you need one. Burden I absolutely love. That way you can hopefully utilize a couple of nice bench scores like your Chode, like your McDermott's if they fire in the first game. So that's it from me, guys. Much love. All the best. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. Bye.